What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Motor Mouse Garage. So today we're gonna do part 2, the transfer case rebuild, and my trials and tribulations along the way. But without further ado, let's just get right into it. Now we're gonna work on replacing the seal for this shaft. So there's a snap ring that I kind of fought with to get out that goes down onto the shaft like this. And I had to modify these snap ring pliers. I had to grind down this edge to be able to reach down in here. So if you look, it's all the way at the bottom of this shaft. So I had to reach down in there and grab it. So let's try to get this thing apart. I haven't taken this apart. I haven't seen a video of this getting taken apart. So I'm very curious as to how this comes apart. I'm assuming that snap ring is really the only thing I have to do, and then I have the, I think the CV, or whatever this is, this little shaft. So let me give this a couple taps. So I don't know. I'm just making assumptions on this is how this comes out. I'm switching this hammer, dude. This hammer just falls apart every time I hit something with it. And it leaves little plastic debris everywhere. So I'm just gonna switch to an actual hammer. Yeah, don't think that that's how that comes out. But what I do think comes out is this clutch pack. I think it's a clutch pack. Oh yeah. All right, look like we're getting somewhere. So this isn't a clutch pack. I'm not sure what this is, to be honest. I have no idea what this is, but that just comes out after the snap ring. We're doing some exploring here, guys. I have never seen this thing taken apart to this point. A little bit of experimentation. Probably an easy way to do this. But I don't know what it is. All right, so I'll show you what I'm dealing with here. So inside of here, this little plate comes up, but I have like nowhere to grab it other than here. So I can fit my finger in here, but I can't like balance it because it's kind of a tight fit. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to like balance this thing out of here. Let me see if I can bring you guys on the struggle bus with me. There we go. So what I'm trying to do is hook a 90-degree pick in this. Oh boy. See, and then it gets stuck when it's like halfway. So yeah, hit this back down. Someone's probably looking at this like, oh, all you have to do is like turn it upside down. You might be right. Some 80 series guru is looking at me like, dude. So I wonder if I flip this upside down and I just kind of like beat it out. I'm also kind of afraid that this little oil pump key is gonna fall out. So I'm gonna put that with the shim. See if we can get this thing to just tap on out of here. Make any progress on that? Nope, hasn't moved. All right, let me figure this out and I'll be back. All right, guys, so I was able to get it out by basically banging this shaft on the ground on a piece of wood. And eventually it just ended up falling out. So now we've got 2 more C-clips. So we've got one all the way down here on the shaft, and then we've got another one that holds the bearing in. So I'm gonna try to get this shaft out first, and hopefully that won't be too terrible. So far the C-clamps inside this thing have been pretty easy to get to. All right, so that is loose. Pull that guy out. And then maybe this flange comes out. I'm not sure. Oh, okay, no. So we've got this threaded piece. Okay, so this is for the sensor that I took out. So there's like that sensor that always leaks on the tail housing. That's what that is for. Now we've got another C-clip. This is probably for the shaft. It's a big one. I would hope it's for the shaft. Not sure. I don't know if we have to hit this with anything or what. So it looks like the next one is ready to come out. So there's one that holds the bearing in right here, which I'm gonna try to get out. Oh, but it's the opposite. So it's not so it has to fold in basically. So that's interesting. Not 100% sure how that's gonna come out yet. I'm wondering if we have to press this shaft out. I hope not. So let me hit this shaft with a hammer and see what happens, and I'll let you guys know. All right, it did not do anything. And I'm trying to be pretty gentle with this thing. All right, I'm gonna have to get a screwdriver and kind of see if I can pry that bearing C-clip out. Pulling up from underneath and just going around in a circle. There we go. And we got her. Okay, so essentially I'm just starting the screwdriver on this end, and then I'm putting a 90-degree pick underneath and lifting it up all the way around until it finally snaps out. So now that that is out of here, and back this camera up, essentially all we have to do is get this shaft out, which is gonna require a little bit of a hammer. So I'm gonna try, ideally not to hit this tube. I wonder if I use my block of wood technique on the floor again. We're gonna need something a little bit more aggressive. All right, let me figure this one out too, and I'll be back. All right, so this is what I came up with. I got a 23 mil impact socket, and I'm just gonna try to get this out of here. So basically this is just to avoid the tube altogether, and let's see if we can get her out of here. Oh, she's in there, guys. She is in here. Something to like hold the case. Might have to do this on the floor. I think we're just sliding the case back, so I'm just gonna do this on the floor and bridge it against something. Maybe, my understanding, actually I could do it in the press. Let's see if she fits over here, and if so, I'll take the camera over here. That does not fit, unfortunately. All right, so I'll update you when I get this out of here. Basically, I'm just gonna use that technique until this shaft gets out. All right, there we go, guys. Turns out, just had to hit it with my purse. So yeah, essentially I just put that socket on here and I just wailed on it, and it came right off. And now we've got, oh yeah, this seal was definitely leaking, man. For sure. Now that bearing just falls right out, just like that. We can get this replaced with a new one, and we can get this seal out. So let's clean this up a little bit, and I will find the new seal. Man, I would have been really upset had I put this together and not replaced this seal, because I thought it was this guy, the Speedo gear, leaking. Turns out it was also this seal. Clean this guy up, man. This is pretty bad. Not even brake cleaner is doing anything to this. So who knows how long this has been leaking for? It's probably been leaking for like 10 years. Well, I'll save you guys the cleaning, but when actually, let me just remove this seal right now. I'm just gonna use the same technique I always have. Again, these nice little pliers here. Perhaps, as long as they don't bend anything. Actually, I think this can come off. This little shield right here. Yeah. Okay, that comes right off like that. So I can clean that guy, clean all around here. And in the meantime, grab this like so. Make sure you're not up against this inside edge where that seal rides, and look at that. That's how easy it was. Just pops right out, dude. And I believe I have the other seal right here. Sure do. Brand new. Set that off to the side for right now. Man, I swear every time I question myself whether or not I'm going to do something, I end up doing it, and then I'm like, oh, thank God I did this, because if not, it would have totally leaked again. And that's exactly what would have happened right there. This is not an optimal garage to do work that requires things to be really clean. Because just there's so much dust that gets in here, dude, because I live in the desert. It's not good. It's not good for these things. And this one, I'm pretty sure the seal just bottoms out. So I'll just take this very shitty hammer, mallet. No matter what you hit, dude, it just like, there's plastic everywhere. This little PVC pipe makes a really good seal driver, in case you're wondering. All right, still pretty tarnished, but at least most of the dirt's out of here. There comes a time where, unfortunately, you just gotta call stuff done, dude. Because if you don't, I could go nuts with like re-cleaning all this, but there's so much more work to do. Even with this transfer case, that I need to just call it good and keep on trucking. Some of the dirt out of the seal here. Lube this guy up again. Now we can put this guy on here again. Switch to a real hammer. Should be seated there. Now, let's flip her over. This transfer case is looking really good, man. Like, the bearings are fine. It's just the seals that are worn out, but I mean, that's bound to happen. Alrighty. Then we'll lube this up, I guess. Both the inside and outside. Maybe through the rollers a little bit. And this should just slide right in. So I think what we're gonna have to do more than likely is put the snap ring for that large bearing I just put in, which is no problem. Let me tell you, a lot easier going in than coming out. Oh, sorry there. I think I'm just gonna follow pretty much the same methodology in reverse, as we just need to get one side started in here. And then kind of work our way around until we're flat in here. So if I can find my screwdriver, that would be great. And I'll just give the screwdriver a little tap with a real hammer to make sure she's seated 360. I think we're good there. And now I'm going to put this on the floor and I'm going to hit this shaft in here. Trial and error. Should be the episode name. I can never find anything. If it was a snake, it would have bit me, guys. I need to be a little bit bigger. Can I just use this? That might work. Okay. All right, so I need to hang this off of my press so I can hammer this back down in here. So turns out, guys, this tube comes out. So basically what I did is I just took it over to the press and I just pressed it back in. And it gave me no troubles whatsoever. It was perfectly fine. Probably should have did that from the very beginning, but you know, here we are. Get this guy back in here, I think. Yeah, so turns out totally could have pressed that out. No big deal. Now, basically we just have to put all these C-clips back in here. So now we've got this little gear for the speedometer. So this is splined on here. And I don't think we've got any direction whatsoever. She just bottoms out pretty much. There should be a snap ring. My screwdriver in here. Making sure that snap ring groove is accessible. Now, get this guy that goes on top of the speedo ring. Yep, that pretty much wanted to go right in. We're good there. And now it's time to put this thing back in. So a note on this one, I realize it already has its own like a little alignment hole. This hole is going to go into a corresponding hole in the case, which I don't know if you can see it. Okay, down there, top left corner of your screen. Sorry, this camera angle is very weird. Okay, there, about center screen. So those two holes need to match up. I'm gonna clean this off and lubricate it a little bit. Now, same old story. I'm just gonna lube around the sides though, just so we can get it in here really easily. I don't know. This doesn't move obviously because it's bolted down in place, but you never know. That spins freely. Gonna line up our holes for our bolts. I'm gonna start the one that doesn't have the shield on it. Boy, if I can get down here. Oh wait, before we do this, we got another snap ring to put on. That would have been bad. I would have like, what's this extra snap ring for? And then I would have realized, although it wouldn't have been bad at this step. Actually, now you got me questioning, does this snap ring actually go here or does it go on the other side? Yes, I think this might actually go above. Don't know if this bottom thing had a snap ring or not. I don't think it did. Now that I'm remembering correctly. I think this was just bolted on. So this snap ring was for after we put this little like constant velocity, whatever, back in. Now I remember. Thanks for correcting me, guys. I heard you through the camera from the future. Let me get my 10 and get this guy started. Go in here just like this. There's another one. Let me get that started. Oh, dude, I lose things right in front of me. It's getting pretty bad, guys. I'm getting old, I think. I just feel like I have to remember a lot of stuff, you know. That guy's in there. Let's get this guy started. I think we're good here. And now we need our little, whatever the hell this thing is in here. Quite frankly, I have no idea what this is. I think it's the constant velocity thing. But I'm really not 100% sure. Feel free to put it in the comments if you know what this is. And preferably how it works, because it looks kind of weird. That guy in, put in this last snap ring, which I think I have to do in reverse. Dude, I swear. I'm throwing away that hammer immediately. Now I need my screwdriver that disappears right in front of my eyes. There we go. Snap ring's in. I at least hope there wasn't another snap ring. Let me do a check before. That way I don't get any surprises later when I find a snap ring and I'm like, after everything's already put back together. I'm pretty confident that I got all of them, but you know, my memory ain't, actually my memory was never good, so I can't use that excuse. And now I guess we can start on the other one, which I have over there, but first I gotta change the battery in my camera. All right guys, now we gotta take apart the rest of this thing, and this should be pretty much the last thing to take apart, I hope. Because I'm anxious. Well, we still got to do some cutting, but apart from that, I think after this we should be pretty good. But essentially we're just going to get this housing off right here. I know I'm doing this off camera, sorry. One more on the bottom. There we go. Dude, shout out to this table, the real MVP of this this job. Flip her back over. And we'll put these bolts inside that ring gear for no reason whatsoever. All right, let's get Bertha to help us out on this one. Oh boy, it's gonna be fun. See if there's a simpler way I can pry this out of here. Not forgetting any bolts, am I? I don't think so. It's just really glued on there. There we go. Need a little persuasion. Out of the bottom here. Well, I don't think I'm gonna be able to accomplish my task of not getting oil all over my table. I'm hoping, so I did see a snap ring on the inner side, but it looked like it was just attached to this flange. So I'm hoping that doesn't have to come off. Let's double check that while we're at it. Nope, it looks like it's part of the housing. So I think we should be okay. We should just being a little difficult. Being a little cranky today. Also, there's this shaft. I don't know if that needs to come out or not. So that might be a thing too. So, unfortunately, my camera memory card happened to run out of room right as I was doing pretty much everything for this little rear extension housing right here. But I'm not going to take it apart. I've already sealed it back up and everything. I replaced the seals, the bearing race inside of here, and then there's a bearing at the bottom of this. So in general, pretty much what you have to do in order to remove all this stuff is you have to get rid of all of these C-clamps that are in here. Well, one, you have to unbolt everything and it comes off, obviously. There's a little clutch fork in there, and then you have to get rid of the snap rings, and then you actually have to press this out of the rear extension housing. So I tried to do it with a hammer, kind of like I did it with the previous method, but it's really in there. So you will absolutely have to press this stuff out. It's not going to just easily work its way out, unfortunately. And that's what I did. So I pressed it out and I pressed it back in, and now we are here. So pretty much right now, the point that we're at now is we need to trim this, like, I think this is for like the oil, basically to hold the oil in here, but we have to trim it out and remove it because the low range gear is a lot bigger. So we have to do this one, and then there's one over there that we have to do, and then we have to do some clearancing on that one over here. So I'm just gonna do one at a time. Probably, I think my strategy for this is I'm just gonna use an angle grinder, and I'm gonna get a screwdriver behind here to pry this away from the case a little bit. I don't think it's a big deal if we nick this case, which inevitably I'm probably going to do. But essentially we just wanna cut along this fold right here and just remove this outer edge. And then after that, I'll go back in with some files and just kind of deburr that edge. And we'll do the same to the other side, and we'll clearance the other side. So my plan is I'm going to prop this up vertically, and then I will, or probably what I should do is I can just hang this off the edge maybe. Nope. Nope. It is a little bit too heavy for that. I might just throw this guy underneath here, perhaps, and hold it up a little bit. So I'm going to get a towel that I basically am not going to use anymore, and then I'm going to lay it over pretty much this entire area, just because I don't have like a parts washer or anything to like get all the grease and stuff out of here. So I'm gonna clean it either way, but I wanna avoid getting metal inside of this case as much as I possibly can before I, clean it. So let me get that set up. I'll get my angle grinder ready, and then we will cut this thing. All right, I think we're set up. I'm gonna be in your way for a large majority of this, and it's gonna be loud, so I'll kind of just show you the aftermath of this. And yes, this grinder is way too big for doing this, but we're gonna try it anyway. Actually, I'm gonna sit you off to the side because you're gonna be in my way right there. All right, well, YOLO, let's give it a shot. Let's see where this got us. There we go. Did I manage to not nick the case at all? It's brilliant. This is going to be very hot. All right, there's half of it. Not the prettiest cut ever, but that's okay, because we're gonna clean this up a lot. So let's start that process. Alrighty, so it's pretty ugly, and it's probably gonna be pretty hot. But here's what I got so far. I know the lighting is not the greatest, but we basically just cut that lip off, and I managed to not grind a hole in the side of my case up there, which is nice. But yeah, so I'm gonna take a file. Well, one, I'm gonna kind of chop this edge off, smooth it out. But I'm gonna take a file and go around the backside just so I can knock some of this extra nonsense off. So that's pretty much one case done. This is the easy one. By the way, guys, never grind with a cutting disc like I just did. You're not supposed to do that. All right, so let's try these tiny files that I have. And we can kind of get behind here and deburr this a little bit by hand. See, a little bit that comes off. I don't want that in the transfer case. I need a more flat file. That one's kind of rounded. Easier said than done. Basically, I'm just trying to get the thinner metal that didn't like cut all the way through. Basically just trying to get in here and get that out of here. I'm not actually like filing anything. I'm just trying to take the little slivers that stay on here after you cut something off, which seems I've kind of done. No sharp edges there. This guy's still super sharp, but is what I mean. So like this metal filing that just came off, that's what I'm looking to get rid of. Okay, this will definitely need a cleaning, which I'll do after I'm done cutting both. Actually, I'll just do it now. So I'm hoping, looks like this towel kind of spared me a little bit. But, yeah, there's definitely some metal fragments in there that I'm gonna need to spend quite some time getting out, so there's no reason for y'all to sit here and watch me do that. Okay, so this is the other side of the case half. Similar, pretty much the exact same thing we're doing, just on the other side. And then we'll have one more additional piece to kind of cut out, which I'll show you guys when we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Alrighty, as far as that shield goes, that's about it. Again, we just took off that back layer, which you can see right here. And now, same deal. I'm gonna go in here with the file and do my best at removing the metal that I don't want there. Really glad I didn't nick through that little metal tube right there. Maybe if I had to do this again, I might consider drilling out these rivets, taking the shield off and just re-riveting it. I have a rivet gun, so wouldn't mind going that route. So I'll note, you know, if I see any metal flakes, I'll know not to get super alarmed. Hopefully I can get it all out, but we'll see. So now what we got to do is we got to trim down this part. And I think essentially what I'm going to do is I have a die grinder and a metal bit that I'm just going to use to trim essentially just straight across here. And when I test fit this gear, you'll see the clearance. I'm probably gonna have to take that hump off too. One of them. I'm gonna take one of them off. I'm not sure which one. But let me get my die grinder and we'll tackle this guy. All right, so this is just gonna get really messy. I'm hoping the towel kind of saves me a little bit, but probably not. Let's move out of the way, towel. There we go. Oh boy, I don't think this towel's helping all that much. I think I just ruined a perfectly fine towel. Okay, let's see how off we are. Oh boy. Let me also dump all these shavings out. This is gonna need, I think, pressure washer is in order for this guy. Alrighty, let me grab the gear, try to clean this out some more. Yeah, this is gonna go to the pressure washer. Don't trust my brake cleaner spray skills 100%. Let's see where we're at. So we're still pretty close. It's kind of hard to tell. Let me, I gotta remove this towel so it can sit perfectly flat and I can get a better idea how this is gonna go. Okay, so we're pretty, still pretty close. Not loving it. You can see there that eyelet is a little bit of an issue. I need like a little shim. I think this big boy might be able to do it. Oh, never mind. It's not very big. Not sure what happened to the shim. But I definitely think we're a little bit too close, but I really need to elevate this on top of something to actually tell. So let me figure something out there. Okay, so there's some shims that go on the back side of that bearing race, and that gets us at the proper height. So you can see here, it does clear, but we're pretty damn close to that edge, and it's not my favorite. So what I'm thinking is I'm gonna clearance out probably, I don't know, another mil maybe, another millimeter. Basically just gonna flatten this out from this corner all the way across, because I do want to allow for a little bit of flex. I don't know if gears flex. I imagine something, there's a tolerance there somewhere. So I'd rather not be in low range. These gears kick on and then, you know, well, I mean, these gears are always going to be spinning, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, I don't know. But we need to take a little bit more off. So let's do that. Make sure you guys can see what's going on. I'll bring you over here. Sorry, I know this is not the best like film predicament here, but it's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot going on here. So here, here's what we're clearancing, and I'm basically just going to try to take a straight line across. Whoop! Hate when that happens, huh? Yeah, we're just gonna have to pressure wash this. All right, so I think that's about as comfortable as I am taking away material on that hole, because I'm not trying to make this aluminum super thin for obvious reasons, because I don't want leaks. Let me spray this guy off again. Guys, this is my last bottle of brake clean. It's not good. Make sure our shims are correct here. And I'm back you guys up, and we'll check clearance yet again. I think this is gonna do it though. Oh yeah. That looks like we got plenty of clearance all the way around. So this is what I'm looking at. Again, you can kind of see how, maybe you can kind of see, let me take you off the stand because the stand is not standing. So here's what I got. You can see this clearance opened up quite a bit. You know, I did leave this inside wall a little thin, but I think it's going to be fine. That's what Permatex is for, right? Just kidding. But this has plenty of clearance all the way around the case. And now, essentially, I'm just going to pressure wash this. And honestly, like, I didn't really have to trim the bottom at all. Again, this is not easy for y'all to see. I'm kind of in your way, light-wise. But it looks like the bottom is fine. So that's good. And we got plenty of clearance for the gears themselves. So I'm gonna call that good. Let me get all of this cleaned up. I gotta flip this over to the other side and clean up the other side as well. And then we should be ready to bolt and glue everything together after I clean, because this whole work area is a mess and it's stressing me out. So let me fix that. All right, guys, so I've got everything cleaned up and I think we can start putting everything back together. So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab the input shaft. I'm gonna lubricate this with some assembly lube, just so our seal is nice and lubricated. It doesn't give us any problems. And that guy is gonna go right here. Make sure I don't fold over my seal or anything crazy. There we go. Pretty snug fit. I'm gonna grab a hammer, just tap this as I go. I think we're maxed out there. And now what we gotta do is we gotta fish our 2 sets of gears in here. I'm gonna move this back, give us some more room. So we already know that our big low range gear carrier goes over here. We have our fork, which will more than likely go on like so. And then we have the idler gears, which I think are over here. Yep. Oh, with the race too. Which, full disclosure guys, I did not replace this back race simply because I did not have a tool handy to get this thing out. So you need like some kind of like bearing puller or like inside puller. But what I will do is I'll lubricate this up and get this ready for the bearing. Every other race is replaced though. It's just this one. Didn't have the tool for it. You know, if you want to go out and rent the tool, you should probably do that. I am in the camp of if it ain't broke, don't fix it, because a lot of these bearings didn't even look bad, like at all. So probably could have went without replacing them. I didn't, but I could have. Put some lubricant on here to make that slide in a little bit easier when the time comes. Alrighty then, so I'm gonna assume this lever probably goes right here. So I need to look to see how this goes together, but I'm pretty confident that this essentially, oh boy, is gonna mesh up like so. I don't know if you guys can see. I don't know how in the way I am here, so let me just back it up. But essentially these gears are going to mesh, which means this is gonna have to come off, and I'm gonna have to ride the struggle bus to get this to mesh properly. Which honestly I think tilting the case backwards is probably gonna be the way to go. I don't know. Let me do some research on this and we'll be back on how to put it all back in, hopefully without any drama. Okay, so I think the best way I'm gonna be able to do this is I'm gonna lay these flat and I'm gonna try to mesh these together and then shove the shift fork right on top. So they mesh together like this. We've got this big shift fork and then this guy, right? So they mesh together like so. You guys can see me. And then basically you need to take this giant heavy assembly and shove it in there. And that's the part that's gonna be kind of interesting. It goes on this shaft. And then our shift fork goes in. Need to adjust this guy to get us in here. I might need a little bit of persuasion. Or I just need to hit it with my purse, one or the other. You decide in the comments. Also, you know what? I think, yeah, there we go. That shift fork was kind of getting in my way. And now, unfortunately, there's not enough in my way. There we go. Come on out. So you gotta, it's kind of like a balancing act between the gears and the shift fork and the lever, the selector lever. And then when it all fits in here, like miracle, there we go. So I kind of utilized the shift fork to push the gears back into place, and I think we're good on that aspect. So now I think what we're ready to do is put this front case on over here and make sure that this actually shifts here. Okay. Oh yeah, that's a reduction, that's for sure. So it spins. Okay. Yeah, now I think we can get the second half of this case on. And then we still have the extension housing that goes, I think, here. If I remember correctly, I don't remember. But let me make sure I'm not missing anything and reference the FSM and OTRAM's YouTube video, which I will link below because that video is really good at explaining how to put this all back together. All right, guys, so now it's time to put this case half on. And I'm gonna bust out this RTV blue. So this came with the Cruiser Outfitters, I think it was Cruiser Outfitters, transfer case rebuild kit. So I'm just gonna use it. I heard this stuff's fine. I don't know if it's any better or not. I'm not sure, but basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trace around the inside of this, inside of the bolt holes, and then I'll go back around and I'll do outside the bolt holes as well. Guess I'll just start pretty much anywhere. Not really picky. Probably laying this stuff on a little bit too thick, but it's not something I want to take out to replace again. I really don't think you need a lot, just because these case halves are pretty well machined. So I think we'll be fine with how we're doing this right now. Gotta change directions. I kind of treat it like flux core welding. You know, you only go downhill. Or stick welding, I guess. I think that's also the rule for stick welding, but I'm not a welder, so I don't know. Okay. So now I'm gonna go around the outside of all these bolt holes. It definitely smells different than like red or green, not green, black or gray RTV. So I think that's all we got right here. And now I'm just gonna take this and I'm gonna flip it up on its end like this. There's like a speck of old RTV right there that I do not appreciate getting in my way. Okay. So now I'm gonna try to get this on here as elegantly as I can. Might take a little work. A lot of work, maybe. There we go. Seemed to go in just fine. Bang on these ears. Make sure that we're fully seated. I don't know which bolts we're supposed to get sealer, which ones aren't. So to be frank, I am just going to use sealer on all of them, pretty much. I think that's going to be fine for right now. And then, pretty confident we're going to have to get this extension housing that I have over here, but let me get that set up. All right, guys, now we're going to put this cover plate on. And remember, this thing had 2 shims That went right here. And I'm just going to take a little punch just to seat that race a little bit so I can fit both the shims in here. There we go. So these are very important. Do not forget shims. Go. Actually, probably what I should do. We'll put the thin one out front. And the cover plate is going to go like so. Assuming I can get these shims in here without causing too much drama for me, please. Okay. Slight, there we go. And this guy's gonna go like so. All right, so we've gotten the cover plate on. Our low range, our gears still spin properly. Make sure these are seated in here. I know for a fact that these shims go in here. If I can get them. I don't think it really matters which one goes where, but I do want those on there. And let me just make sure before we put this housing on there that I've got everything I need. So 1 second. Okay, so the only thing I did off camera was I torqued these to 28 foot-pounds, and now we're going to seal this little extension housing and throw it on here. Don't forget your shims for this idler gear and also this little drive gear for the oil pump. Don't forget that stuff. So this, I mean, you've seen me do this about 1,000 times now, so same process as before. I'm going to go around on the inside and then I'll go back around on the outside of the bolt holes. All right, that should be it for the sealant. I'm just going to grab this guy and basically fight to get it in here. Also helps if you line up your oil pump drive gear correctly. All right, now I think we can get these bolts in here, finally. Hoping that these are the right length. Yeah, for sure. And again, I'm just sealing them all. Missing a few bolts, so it's not the greatest thing ever. But importantly, our high and low range gears shift appropriately. Pretty darn well, actually. So I'm missing a bolt here because I think these are too long. Could be wrong. Let's see. Let's try to run this one on home and see what happens. It's hitting that old thread locker, I guess. All right, cool. Let me put some sealer on this guy. Maybe that is supposed to be a short one. I'm not sure. I need to figure out what bolts go where because I kind of lost track of that a little bit, unfortunately. And these bolts are too small. All right, so let me figure that out while you guys wait. Okay, turns out wasn't missing any bolts. I just used the wrong one in the wrong place. So now that I've got that sorted out, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this snap ring and snap it into this bearing right here. And then I think we can put this cover back on for this bearing, which is awesome. Oh boy. And there we go. We are in. So that bearing's not going to fall out. Also a note, so I had to basically push this shaft back from the input side, the transmission side. I just took a hammer and tapped it, and that was able to bring this bearing out so I could put that snap ring in. So now I think we got to put this cover on. Just let me clean this up and make sure that that's the right next set. All right, so just like I said, I don't think I'm missing anything. Just gonna clean off this cap, put sealer on it, and drive these bolts on home. I'm just gonna drive one bolt in here, actually probably two, because I believe these also need to be sealed. Let me get this guy in here. And then I can just seal the rest, I believe. I'm hoping this blue RTV is good. This is the first time I've used this. So we'll find out. I think the torque spec on all of these bolts is the same. I think it's like 27, but let me check. All right, so I went around and I torqued all of the bolts for the transfer case. We have to do this, and I believe this center diff was in neutral. I'm not sure how to put the center diff, or sorry, open, not neutral. I don't know how to put the center diff in neutral. Right now, I believe it is locked. I don't know off the top of my head. That is high-low. That's just the lever. I'm not sure what exactly. I saw his finger go in here. So I was watching Otran's YouTube video, and he mentions how the differential, the center differential, is in the unlocked position. I need to mess around and make sure that it is in the unlocked position, because I'm not 100% sure what position it's in right now. It seems locked to me, since both the front and rear drive shafts are spinning. So let me try to figure out how to make this open, and I'll let you guys know how I did it. Okay, so to tell, let me just grab you guys, if the center diff is in the lock or unlock position, it's going to do with this gear right here. So if you look in here, you can see, maybe you can see like a little contact patch that's going back and forth. So I believe when the farthest one is down, so if you look in here, you'll see it, but pretty much that it's off the sensor. I think that means that it's unlocked, and then if we rotate it like that, it'll touch the sensor and see if it's rotated. But anyway, I'm pretty sure if you rotate it clockwise, that means unlocked. If you rotate it counterclockwise, that means it's locked. I think. I don't know. Could be reverse, but that's how I'm going to put it back in, and we're going to see if this works. Alrighty. I was able to find the ball bearing. I'm going to drop that guy in there, followed by the spring, which goes right there, and followed by this Torx cap, which is, there we go. I don't think that requires any sealer. There's no sealer putting it back on there. I just need the actual Torx bit. So I'm just gonna go ahead and torque this to 27 foot-pounds as well. Seems legit. I don't think it's all that critical, just as long as it's not going anywhere. Because that, I believe, controls your center diff locking. Not believe, I know for a fact it does. So, just gonna torque this really quick to 27, and I'm good with that. So now, the I think the last sealing step that we need to do is we need to put the center diff motor back in here, which is this guy. So I'm just gonna go ahead and seal this thing the same way I've been sealing everything else thus far. Gonna go on the inside of the bolt holes. I don't think I'm gonna go around the outside of the bolt holes. I think that's kind of unnecessary for this particular use case. And then I gotta figure out which way this goes. I think we're probably right here. Question mark. Oh, let me make sure that harness doesn't get in the way. Yeah, that seems about right. Yep. She fit right on there. Just gotta tighten these. I'm just gonna do a general cross pattern. And I legitimately think that's gonna be it for sealing this differential. So it was some work, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. I did most of it. So I did what I thought was gonna be, let me speak to you. I did what I thought was going to be the hard part over the weekend. And then turns out that was kind of the easy part, which was like all the gear stuff, pressing on the shafts. That was super easy. The difficult part was actually replacing all the seals in the inputs and output shafts. Well, specifically the drive shaft, the front and rear drive shaft seals, flange seals, whatever they're called. That was actually the difficult part because there wasn't like a ton of information out there about it. And it didn't take me too long. Most of it is just removing snap rings and the use of a press to press those shafts out of there. But I replaced every seal that I could find behind there. I do have some extras from the kit, which I'll show them to you right now. Probably too little too late now that this is back together. So we've got some O-rings here. I think this might have been for the selector shaft, this thicker one here. And then we have this big thick O-ring here. And then we have this giant one, which I'm not really sure what that was for. And then we also have this one, which I don't even know, nothing even came off of here that looked like that. So I don't know what this is for. That might be for the 100 series, because this is a kit for the 80 and the 100, I think. But anyway, all I'm gonna do to wrap this up is to put these sensors back in. I've got new crush washers for all of them. And then I'll throw that speedo sensor back in. But I think that's gonna be it for this video, guys. If you have any questions about this, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'm sorry I missed the rear extension housing or the front extension housing. My SD card filled up, guys, and I was already done with it. And anyway, not that difficult. I have faith in you guys. I know you guys can do it. But with that being said, if this video was helpful at all, make sure you like the video. Leave me some comments. If you know what those seals are, or if you know what, if I missed anything. I also have an extra bearing that I'm not sure where it went. Anyway, it's like a roller needle bearing. I don't have it with me. Anyway, like I said, if you like this video, please actually like the video. Put a comment down in my comment section. Subscribe to the channel if you're not, which you probably are if you've watched to this point. And yeah, share this video with your friends. All of my link stuff is in my bio. I'm gonna link the FSM Otram's videos. Big shout out to Otram for his videos like many years ago. Not that many, it was like 4. But anyway, peace out, guys. That's gonna do it for me.